How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast slash vlog slash fitness journal slash everything it looks like now. And today is a post-workout podcast. It was Back and Biceps. Today is a Wednesday, and we're going to talk about my workout, so let's go. Now, Back and Biceps is a pretty fun day for me. I enjoy working out back. I don't really enjoy working out biceps as much. I know that a lot of people out there, they may prefer, the curls for the girls and things like that, of that nature, guns hugging the sleeves and whatnot. But for me, it's not really an area that I care much about. Now, back work, however, is something that I really do enjoy. I enjoy the movement of back work. Doing rows, doing isometric rowing, lat pull downs, things like that. There are a lot of fun movements, and the stretch that I feel when performing these movements, it feels really good. Getting into the soreness, however, I don't really enjoy that much. But to keep up with a balanced muscular system and a balanced physique, you do have to incorporate and hit all your muscles, which is why biceps for me is paired on a day that I do my back work. Another reason that I pair my biceps on a day that I do back work is because biceps come into play when rowing, when performing lat pull downs and things like that. So I started my workout with the iso row machine. Well, not the iso row. Actually, it was the like a Cybex lat pull down machine. I had been using the Hoist brand machines, which not only do you have pins, like a pin and plate system, but it also incorporates moving of the entire bench or the entire seat. So as you row or as you do your lat pull down, your seat also moves. Now, I don't know if the plates are light and they incorporate your body weight with that, since your body is also moving. But I felt it a lot more in my lats than I did using the traditional cable lat pull downs. I felt the cable lat pull downs, either it's just my overall build or I'm doing it wrong, but I wasn't really feeling that tightness or that contraction in my lats when doing the cable lat pull downs. Now, the Hoist machine was tied up probably about 2 weeks ago, so I actually moved to using this other machine, which is a Cybex brand, and that one is also another pin machine. And for some reason, the way that the seat is positioned and the grips or the handle position for the lat movement, I feel a deeper stretch and I feel a tighter contraction when performing that movement. So I actually haven't gone back to the Hoist for the past two back and bicep days. After that, I moved to the iso row, and I've been making steady progress with the lat pull downs. But the iso row, I've been sort of at a standstill. Today was 2 45-pound plates and 2 10-pound plates on each side. It is a very popular rowing machine. The dumbbell rows were getting too crazy. Trying to row 125-pound dumbbells, I can do it, but I was starting to feel it in my lower back. Like, that's some heavy weight. And when you have to wear like a weight belt when performing those rows, and I was feeling it everywhere but where I wanted to, I said to myself, it's time to move on. It's time to find greener pastures. And those greener pastures were found in the iso row machine. I get, again, another deep stretch, and really engages my back, my lower lat, and I don't even know the name of the muscle, but it's like the muscle right next to your mid or upper spinal cord. There's that muscle of my back is being engaged, and I try to keep it at a moderate rate, which is why I've been stuck at this same weight for the past 2 back days, because on my last 2 sets, I do it for 5 sets of 10. On my last 2 sets, I begin to feel my biceps start to take over. Maybe my back is getting fatigued or something like that. Maybe I should drop the weight and focus more on the mind and muscle connection. But it's something where I've been feeling it in my biceps, and my biceps have been taking over. So for the past 2 lifting or back and bicep days, I've remained at the same weight, and I'll still continue to do so next week. I plan on keeping at this same level for the iso row. After that, I moved on to bicep curls, 3 sets of 10 and 1 AMRAP. And this week I actually moved up. Last week and for the past couple of back and bicep days before that, I had been at 25-pound dumbbells, and they're standing bicep curls, so it's not like I'm doing a dead hang. They're standing bicep curls, so I try to minimize the swing when curling. I try to keep my body as rigid as possible, but even then you're going to get a little bit of cheating when you swing those weights up. But this week I was able to move up to the 30-pound dumbbells, and I performed the movement for 3 complete sets of 15. And on my final set, the AMRAP set, I was able to jerk out pretty much 10 reps. Now, I'm going to continue to stay at this 30-pound weight because the first set of 15 was clean. It was good. I hit it for 15, no problem. On my second set, I did 10, and then I had to switch to a hammer curl position or hand position to squeeze out the last 5. And on my third set for 15, I was able to get 10 again, and then I had to switch to a hammer curl to sort of jerk up the last 5 reps. Now, to me, mentally, that's not really completing the lift in an honest way, I guess. So I'll continue to stay at 30 pounds until that either changes, I'm able to get 15 out, no problem. I want to say that there may be, I'm not really sure, but there may be diminishing returns with bicep curls. There's a guy that goes to my gym, and definitely if you want bicep advice, you just look at this guy's arms, and he's probably the guy you want to ask. So I asked him one day, because he's always in there and he's doing different types of exercises for his biceps. And I asked him, how are you building, your biceps? How are you building that muscle? And he told me that he attacks it different either each week or each time he's in the gym working his arms. And he'll go either for heavy sets or he'll go for time under tension sets where it's a lot of long, slow movement with light weight to really tear that muscle down and really get it to build. Or he'll work with reverse grip barbell curls or dumbbell curls, preacher curls with dumbbells, preacher curls with a barbell, preacher curls with a, modified barbell. All of these things he implements to attack and to grow and to shape his biceps to become what they currently are. Now for me, because I don't really care much for shaping and building my biceps, at least at this time, I'm going to continue to stay on the straight and narrow with what I'm doing. But I keep that advice in the back of my mind whenever and if ever I reach the point where, okay, I'm starting to see my physique develop in all of the other areas that I've been working. Maybe I should focus on some of these other sort of what I would call like vanity areas. How there's some individuals, they might want to, slam out some calf work, or they might want to do some forearm work. That's really not my bag right now, but I may be at the point where I'm reassessing that, and I might want to do some calf work, do some forearm work, or attack my biceps in a different way each time so that I can develop a larger or a fuller looking bicep. After those curls, I moved to a machine for single arm preacher curls. I could do preachers with the dumbbells, but I don't. I could come up with a bunch of different reasons, my grip, whatever the case may be. Right now, it's sort of just what I'm doing. I'm doing it on a machine where there's pins and plates, and I'm preacher curling 20 pounds, which was easy today, so I will be moving up next week to the 30 pound. And it's something that I feel my arm positioning and my hand positioning is just set. And all I have to do is really just focus on the time under tension and just focus on making sure I feel that stretch and that I feel that squeeze at the top of the curl. Anything else is just out of sight, out of mind. I don't have to focus on gripping any weight. I don't have to focus on, my wrist positioning. Everything is just set. So it's really simple for me. It's an easy exercise, and it's one that I enjoy implementing at this time. So I don't really envision moving to any different equipment other than that one at this time. And after that, I have begun to incorporate iso lat pull downs. It's an exercise that my old gym buddy introduced to me, and it was just his sort of bread and butter. He loved doing this, and this guy had some serious lats, still does have some serious lats. So who am I to say, that exercise doesn't do anything, when this dude's like killing a straight king cobra back? The lats are just huge. So I decided I wanted to start implementing it, and it was interesting how I struggled with it so much my first time around when he and I used to work out in the gym together. And this time I'm incorporating it, and I'm able to slam it out. I'm able to really feel that stretch. I'm able to really feel that contraction when I bring that lat pull down back. It's almost like a reverse or behind the neck pull down, the way that your seat is positioned or the way that you are positioned in the seat. But it's safer in the sense that your neck isn't forward, or you're not put out of position to where it's like going to possibly put you in a position to injure yourself. And the first time around when I was doing with him, I would tell him, like, I'm not feeling this. I don't know what the heck we're doing. Why are we wasting our time doing this? And to come back to it, to come back around, sometimes you need to step away from an exercise, and when you come back to it, it's like, oh, you have this sort of epiphany that, wow, this really is doing what it is intended to, and maybe I was the one who was doing it wrong all along to begin with, which I wholeheartedly agree with. I was probably performing that movement not the way it was intended to be performed. And on the iso lat pull down, I had a 45-pound plate, a 25-pound plate, and a 5-pound plate on each side. And it felt really good. It felt really easy, and I think I'll continue to move up. When he and I were doing this exercise, I remember I had a 45 and a 25 on there, and I was just struggling, and I wasn't feeling it. So to be at this point where I'm making progress, putting weight on the machine, as well as feeling it where I know it needs to be felt, it's a really good thing right now. So I know that eventually I'll reach a point where I'm doing 2 45-pound plates, and at that time we'll see if I'll need like wrist straps for my grip, or we'll see if there's a diminishing return right there and I'm just not feeling it in the intended area, which is something that I'd like to look into, unless any of you have that type of knowledge. Like, when you're not feeling it in the exercise, is it better to just stay at the weight with which you do feel it, or continue to push through and hope that eventually you'll feel it in that muscle group? Because there was a video that I had seen years ago with Kevin Levrone, a professional bodybuilder, who was working like the rear tie-in on his hamstring, and I believe it's the muscle that is the hamstring and the glute. It's a really tiny muscle, and that his trainer was telling him to put his foot positioning in a different spot on the leg press machine, to put it in pretty much the highest left and the highest right corners, to put his feet up there and to be humble and drop the weight. And I believe he had a 45-pound plate on each side, so really light. For him, that dude could slam out a serious amount of weight on the leg press. But his trainer told him, lighten that load. and you're going to see. And sure enough, he was performing the movement and his muscles are getting really sore. He was telling the trainer that, wow, like I've never felt it in this position before, and it's just insane because I think that your other dominant muscles will always overtake the movement when you find yourself in a position where you're lifting weight that is either at your max or approaching your max. And when you want to, in bodybuilding at least, it would be my idea or impression that we want to build every single muscle, all the little ones and the big ones. And when you're targeting the smaller ones, you might want to stay at a lower weight. But again, I could be wrong, so it's something that I'll need to look into unless any of you guys out there have that information. So after that iso lat pull down, it was a stiff arm lat pull down with the cables. I had been at 70 pounds for the last couple of workouts. I bumped it up to 80. I was able to complete 2 successful sets of 10 at 80 pounds. And then my last set was for 6. Now I'm going to try to find another machine that has maybe a 75-pound plate because I think that 10-pound jump was just too much too soon. Even on the first 2 sets, I felt like my triceps and my forearms were starting to take over in the movement, and it wasn't really engaging my lats anymore at that point. Now, it could have been that my lats were pre-exhausted from all the other lat work that I had been doing prior, but not one to look for excuses. I think that maybe it was probably the jump, the 10-pound jump, versus just doing a 5-pound jump. So, again, that was my workout for today. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen to this post-workout podcast. My battery is about to die on this, so I got to cut this real short. If you guys are listening to me or watching me on YouTube, be sure to give me a like, leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you're listening to me on iTunes, I'd love to hear from you guys. Leave a rating. 5 stars would be preferable. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And you can find me on my Instagram. It's at Ramon_Campamore. That's CAMPOAMOR. Be sure to slide in the DM. Send me any comments or any post suggestions that you would like for me to talk about or you'd like to hear about. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.